We are pleased to welcome Tony Porter, Chief Executive Officer, A Call to Men, author, educator, activist, and I want to thank you for joining us.
All right, thank you, Steve, for having me.
Let's get right into this. You have been coaching, teaching, mentoring, inspiring men for many years. And by the way, we're going to see your website up here as well. You talk about breaking out of the, quote, man box. What is that about?
We talk about the man box. It gives men a visual, right? What we're actually talking about is the collective socialization of manhood, how men are collectively taught to think and act, in many cases behave. I mean, we don't all do the same thing. You know, you may do things different than I do, but we all have a basic understanding of how manhood is defined, because it's taught to us from the time we're little boys. So we use the man box to give men a visual. We talk about all the ingredients in that box that come to define many aspects of manhood. Men are tough, men are strong, men are courageous, men are athletic.
Men are dominant.
Dominant, no fear.
Which is a problem sometimes.
Big problem. No fear, no pain. You know, so much of how we define what it means to be a man that's in that box is, at the end of the day, to distance ourselves from how we perceive to be the experience of women and girls. So if women and girls can ask for help, men, we don't ask for help, we don't offer help, we don't accept help.
That's right.
You know, all these notions of manhood is what's inside of that box.
You're making me think about something. You and I, born around the same time. Mm-hmm. You grew up, you're born in Harlem, raised in the Bronx. I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. I'm proud of it, Brick City. But point of the story is that, point of what I'm raising is our son, one of our sons is 13, and we were talking about something, he started crying pretty quickly. And I just laid into him. Yeah. I said, Chris, what do you cry? And I started talking about crying because I didn't think it was appropriate or helpful for him to cry. I said, crying doesn't solve problems. My wife said, just back off. Yeah. And I didn't. The point I'm making is that I realized that the way I grew up, what my father taught, you don't. You better have a damn good reason to cry. Now, I know I'm oversimplifying it, but
well, not necessarily.
I'm in the box.
Yeah, and we're all in the box, right? The question is whether we know we're in the box or not. Like what your wife was doing with you, Steve, was challenging you maybe to get off of remote control, just doing what you always done, what your dad done, and helping us to think a little differently. You know, when we tell a boy, particularly a very young boy, to stop crying, what we're actually telling them is to stop feeling.
He was feeling.
Right, and so when you say stop crying, you're saying, son, stop feeling. We don't mean any harm, but based on our socialization, right? That boys don't cry.
I want to toughen him up. Sorry, I want to toughen him up.
Right, we want to toughen. Why? But why?
Because life. Listen, because it is. I said, Chris, it is tough.
Right.
But the other side of this. We'll talk offline. You'll help me. I know you will. The other side of this is the way we treat and the way we interact with women. A very big deal. You are engaged by the NFL.
Yes.
You work with all the teams.
All 32 clubs.
After the Ray Rice incident. Talk about it.
Well, I've been working with the NFL for about 10 years or so before that. But after the Ray Rice incident, the Ray Rice domestic violence assault on his girlfriend.
That everyone saw in that elevator. Right. We saw some of it.
Right. After that, everything kind of ramped up in that space. And actually, the NFL took the lead in many respects. We worked with the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball. We just recently started working with Major League Soccer. So we work with all the pro team sports. But after that incident, you have someone of his, you know, with his influence and his platform. So it really took off, and awareness really began to heighten. That video, you know, really brought domestic violence to center stage in many respects. And it's a good thing. What's
the message for men? What's the message for those men that you're talking to them and you're using the Ray Rice incident as a jumping off point? And there are unfortunately too many other incidents.
Right. I mean, our work at A Call to Men is actually, we focus more on men who would be defined as not abusive versus men who are. Because men who are abusive are a minority of men, right? And we see that domestic violence is really rooted in a patriarchy, really rooted in a male-dominating society. So for us, it's not just focusing on the men who are abusive. It's about focusing on all men. We actually believe and know that men who are abusive are a minority of men. All right, they're doing they're a large amount of men, but they're a minority of men in comparison to the rest of us.
But the rest of us have a responsibility, and that's what.
And that's the word.
I Will Speak Up campaign. # I Will Speak Up. About what and why?
That's the work. The work is for the majority of men, right? While the majority of men don't perpetrate violence against women and girls, the problem is we're silent to the violence. And men who are abusive get to be who they are in our presence. Now, in our presence doesn't necessarily mean that we were there when the violence happened.
But we know.
But we know it's happening, and check it out, Steve. If we don't know it's happening, that level of ignorance is part of the problem as well. So our work is really to engage the majority of men to begin to speak out, to begin to...
Do we challenge those men?
We don't challenge them.
No, I'm trying to figure out, tell us what we should be doing.
We should be challenging men who are abusive, inappropriate in language, inappropriate in behavior, and we can challenge them with love. We don't have to, a lot of times when we say challenge, we automatically think of violence. Right. No, we can have conversations in love, and what we can really do, as the tagline of A Call to Men, the next generation of manhood, what we all can do is focus on how we're spending time with boys, developing young men of character, using our influence, using our platform, and invest in boys. Knowing that we're investing in boys, when we're promoting healthy, respectful manhood,
that's right.
We're also decreasing violence against women and girls.
You got #MeToo. You got this hashtag. How are they connected? I Will Speak Up campaign, Me Too. Go ahead.
Well, #MeToo is women speaking out about what has happened to them, the assaults that have happened to them. #I Will Speak Up is men no longer being silent, and partnering with women, getting alongside of women, supporting women in these efforts. When we're supporting women, we're supporting ourselves at the end of the day. Their freedom is connected to our freedom, right? We're talking about humanity. So as men, we have to begin to speak up, challenge each other, educate boys to think differently, right? Spend time with women in collaboration around these efforts, no longer allowing this to look like a woman's issue. This is a human issue.
Last question. I'm a student of leadership. I write about it, teach it, and always make mistakes when it comes to it. The greatest leadership lesson you have learned, put you on a spot.
Yeah, one of the greatest leadership...
30 seconds, go ahead.
Okay, I have a responsibility as a man. I have to go beyond my biological sons. I have a community of sons. I have a nation of sons. They're all my responsibility. There's a huge gap to fill. We have an epidemic of fatherlessness in the United States of America. You, me, all men have to step up. Step up to the plate, as we would say in baseball, right? Get off the sidelines, as we would say in football. Redefine what it means to be a real man.
I cannot thank you enough. You just helped a lot of people, Tony.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, my friend.
I could feel my lungs fill with oxygen, and I got my life back.
The Sharing Network means to me hope, life, and everything.
The Sharing Network was a lifeline to me when I really needed it.
We are an organ procurement organization.
The core purpose of the New Jersey Sharing Network is to save and enhance lives.
To honor those who gave.
Pay tribute to those who received.
Offer hope to those who continue to wait.
And remember the lives lost while waiting.
For the gift of life.
Also brought to you by the law firm of Gibbons, P.C. and by the New Jersey Office of the Insurance Fraud Prosecutor.